Hey, what is up, guys? It's Brennan here, and today we're going to be taking a look at 7 of the best mileage tracker apps, both free and paid, for you when you're looking to track your miles on your trips and on your drives. Again, if you want to automatically track those miles, that's what we're going to be breaking down here in today's video. Now, of course, this can be very important depending on what your usage may be, whether it be for personal, business, whether you want reimbursements for work, or if you want to track those miles in your small business so you get those tax deductions when it comes tax time. So all of these different uses are important in a variety of different ways and really reasons why you might want to actually track your miles. Again, these miles are worth money, again, in the form of tax deductions or reimbursements. So of course, we're going to be diving into exactly how to track your miles, what are the best apps to use, what are the differences, and really what might be the best app for you in your situation. Again, because all these different mileage trackers do sort of cater to different types of use case scenarios. That's going to be breaking down here in today's video. Now, if you do want to check out any of the companies we mentioned here in today's video, there will be links linked down below in the video description box, of course, some of which are affiliate links, which is a great way to help out and support the channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the list. Now, this isn't really in any particular order. Again, it does depend on what your specific needs are as to which might be best for you. So continue watching throughout the whole video so you get the full picture of all the different mileage tracking apps. So again, taking a look at the first one here, we have Zoho Expense. Now, Zoho Expense falls into the category of more of an expense tracking platform. They also have a mileage tracker app built into their expense management platform. So as you can see here, you can track your distance covered with GPS tracking, point-to-point map locations, and an odometer reading as well. Now, I'll say Zoho Expense typically is built more for teams and more for companies looking to maybe track their miles, not necessarily as much on the personal side of things. We will be getting into other types of apps that are good for personal use or for reimbursements as well. This is built more for, again, taking track of your mileage expenses. You can use it that way as well, but it is primarily built for, again, business travel, depending on your use case. Now, of course, if you are going to be doing business travel for your own business, again, this could be a very good option for you. Again, maybe if you're doing Uber, Lyft, or something like that, again, some of those apps do have their own tracking, but if you do want like a separate tracker, or maybe if you own like a lawn care company and you're going to be driving around for work, this can be a good way to keep track of your mileage expenses and your overall vehicle expenses to get those tax deductions. Now, of course, they do have some other features built into this as well. Again, they have the Zoho Expense app, and the nice thing about it in terms of the actual pricing for Zoho Expense and their mileage tracking, again, as you can see here, you can log your expenses using, the distances, the GPS maps, and you can input your mileage rate and get your actual, distance, categorize it, and boom, you can claim that, whether it be an expense or as a reimbursement as well. So you can do both. In terms of the pricing, taking a look at it here, they do actually have a completely free version where, on Zoho Expense it is completely free, and then you can add the mileage expenses here. So that's included in the free version, and it is up to 3 users. This is why it's the first one we're mentioning here, just because it has a lot that comes in that free version. Again, if you are going to be having multiple users, if you do want the mileage expense reports and things like that. And the other nice thing about that as well is it does integrate with other accounting software such as QuickBooks Online and Xero, as well as their own Zoho Books, which is sort of in the overall Zoho software suite. I have covered Zoho Books on other accounting software videos if you're more interested in the accounting side of things. Nice thing is Zoho Expense does link up to Zoho Books if you want to, have that direct accounting integration. Again, if you want to keep track of your tax deductions for a small business, logged in and automatically connected. I get that's not necessarily for everybody, but if you are interested in that, it does have that as well in the free version. So that's a nice thing. If you do need more advanced expense management, I get that's not necessarily everybody. They do have that in their standard, premium, and higher level plans. But just for basic mileage claims and mileage tracking, you can do that all in the free version of Zoho Expense, which is very nice. Moving along, next at the number 2 spot, we have FreshBooks. Now, this is again another software that is sort of more linked into the accounting side of things. This is really built for people looking to link their accounting and their mileage tracking. If you are a small business owner, if you are looking to link things together. Again, if you're not, continue watching the video. We will cover other software that matches more of a broad scope of for other types of uses. But if you do want, and what I would generally recommend is if you are doing mileage tracking for business, it makes sense if you want to lump that into the accounting software. If you're already paying for an accounting software, it makes sense to find one that can also do your mileage tracking, and FreshBooks is one of those as well. Again, if you're looking to just keep better track of all of your overall expenses in your small business, making sure you're getting all those tax deductions when it comes tax time and you're filing things, makes sense to lump that into your accounting software. And then you have it all in one. So you have your automated mileage tracking here within FreshBooks in their app here. So as you can see, you can do your mileage tracking as well. You can split it out as business and personal as well, which is very nice. So you can keep track of potential deductions. You can review them and have them unreviewed, and then you can review them to make sure that they actually match up to what your drives were and things like that, just to verify and to confirm them and to split them as well, whether it be a personal or business trip. In addition to that, as you can see, because it is linked to the accounting software within FreshBooks, then it also does link to your profit and loss statements, your overall revenue. Again, because that mileage expense is then automatically linked in to your accounting software, it does give you better business visibility. Again, I get that's not necessarily for everybody, but if it is for you, it does make a lot of sense to link that together. Again, because if you're already paying for an accounting software, it makes sense to have the mileage tracking built in. You get more detailed reporting and features. So as you can see here, you can log your trips and claim it. Make sure you're claiming those business expenses for your tax deductions when it comes tax time. So as you can see, you can automatically log your trips. You can see your travel history. You can get organized as well. And again, be tax compliant and get a better, tax return, making sure that you're getting all those tax deductions. Again, you can try them for free. Again, if you are interested in FreshBooks, I have links down below in the video description. Check out any of the companies mentioned here in today's video. They are a paid tool, so they do have a free trial, but they are a paid tool. But again, a lot of the accounting softwares are a monthly subscription. So not getting too specific into the pricing details. Again, pricing is always subject to change, but they are, fairly affordable compared to a lot of other accounting software. Again, if you want sort of that lumped together, that's maybe a pro and a con, is that, on the pro side, it's all lumped together. So you do get the mileage tracking built in. But if you don't necessarily need that, then you might want to look elsewhere if you don't necessarily need the accounting software. Again, this pricing is always subject to change, but depending on when you're watching this video, again, you can get your mileage tracking and running those reports in the light version as well. So again, if you want the accounting software and the mileage tracking built into one, FreshBooks could be a good option. Moving on, next in this list, another company that does do accounting and mileage tracking together is QuickBooks. So you've probably heard of Intuit QuickBooks. They are another small business accounting software, and you can track your mileage automatically within their app as well. If you want to do your accounting and connect it with mileage tracking. This works on both QuickBooks Online as well as QuickBooks Self-Employed as well. So depending on what sort of package that you decide to go with, it does work on both. They are sort of separate apps, but you can track your mileage on either of the subscription tiers. Now, this does include your accounting. So that is one thing as well. If you want the accounting and the mileage tracking, QuickBooks does also do that as well and connects it together. Again, whether you're driving part-time, full-time, occasionally making deliveries, mileage can be obviously one of the largest tax deductions for a small business, and it's important to make sure that you're logging your miles so you can get those tax deductions to save money at the end of the day. So as you can see here, you can automatically do your GPS tracking, and it's all built into your accounting software. So you can swipe left or right for business miles and categorize them as, individual trips or business or personal. So you can make sure that you're logging things correctly and accurately, reviewing them. and making sure you're getting all those tax deductions. Another nice thing about QuickBooks that I personally do like about the software is their detailed reporting. So a lot of the softwares mentioned here in today's video do have reports, but QuickBooks does go a little bit above and beyond within their regular accounting reporting or accounts reporting features that I personally really like about QuickBooks. And, they also have that here with their mileage reports. So you can see specifically on the vehicle breakdown, the total business miles, total mileage driven, business usage, total tax deductions. Again, so you can see really a more detailed breakdown of your full mileage report, again, in your business. So, another thing too is if you are going from QuickBooks Self-Employed, you can bring that to QuickBooks Online, just as another thing if you were considering, depending on what subscription you go with. Again, they are a bit more expensive. It's a full accounting software, so they have their simple start. They have their essentials. Again, this pricing is always subject to change depending on when you're watching this video. Make sure to check out each of these companies' pricing pages to get the most realistic and up-to-date pricing as that follows. So it is another paid tool, but again, because it is an accounting software, it lumps in the mileage tracking, so you're not having to pay for a separate tool. Speaking of separate tools, if that's something that you're interested in, you got to this part of the video, then we have MileIQ. Now, MileIQ at the number 4 spot here is a completely separate mileage tracking app. There is no accounting software built in. It is just fully a completely dedicated mileage tracking app for tracking your miles for tax deductions or reimbursements. So this is really good. Again, whether you're an individual or you're a team looking to track miles, again, as a individual or as a team for business, this can be a really good app. It's just super simple, really dumb, easy to understand, and it is completely focused around mileage tracking. Again, it's not accounting software. It is just purely mileage tracking. So it is its own app, and it is definitely one of the more affordable options and cheaper options, and it is one of the free solutions because they do have a free version. I'll be getting into the pricing a little bit later, but in terms of what they have, again, it is probably the easiest app to understand out of all the companies in this video, just because it is super focused. It's super easy, super simple. You track your miles, right? But I do have some caveats with that as well, worth mentioning a little bit later. But you can, again, automatically track your miles. As you can see here, you can save money, whether it be tax deductions or reimbursements for work. So you can save a lot of money there, and it's definitely worth keeping track of things, whether it be for personal or for business use or getting reimbursements or tax deductions. You can do it all here within MileIQ. So as you can see here, you can focus on actually driving, right? Instead of, manually logging your odometer, no pen and paper needed. They keep track of your miles. You can easily categorize it, whether it be personal or for business. And again, you can get reimbursed or save on your taxes. So those are sort of the main use case scenarios. Now, if you're already paying for accounting software, or if you're interested in accounting software, it makes sense just to do your mileage tracking there. But if you don't necessarily need all of that complication and you don't necessarily want the higher monthly fees, then MileIQ could be totally the option for you. Again, if you just want to keep things simple and just do your mileage tracking. Again, they do have a free version. It's available on iOS and Android, and this is hands down one of the best mileage tracking apps just because of how simple and easy it is to understand, use, do your reporting. Now, the thing with that as well, you can also, set work hours, add multiple vehicles, name locations. They do also have support, and they are the #1 mileage tracking app overall on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Now, in terms of, they have it set for individuals as well as for teams and for business. So depending on what your use is, you can also set up multiple different users. So if you do need multiple drivers, again, this is a more niche scenario, but if that's you, you can also have those custom pieces of reporting. Again, if that's what you need in your business and doing the more detailed reports and analytics, you can also do that here within MileIQ if you want to set up everything in that way as like team locations or running more of a organization here as a company. You can also do that through MileIQ, or again, even just as an individual looking to simply track your miles. Now, in terms of the pricing of how that follows, now again, this pricing is accurate as I'm making today's video. They do have a free version that gives you up to 40 free drives every month. This is really nice. However, the one thing about this is what I've found through testing MileIQ is essentially they have that automatic mileage tracking always on when you have the app installed. So if you ever want to turn it off, it'd be very easy to reach 40 free drives through personal driving very quickly, and you don't necessarily need to track all of those. So that's one caveat here that, you might burn through those 40 free drives through personal driving very, very fast, especially if you don't necessarily care about actually tracking those personal drives. What you really need to track is obviously for business and for reimbursements. Then you might have to just uninstall the app, then reinstall the app to turn it on and off. Now, there might be an extra setting that you might be able to turn that on and off. I could not find it very easily, so it's always on. So that's one caveat there. It might be very easy and quick to burn through those 40 free drives on the automatic mileage tracking. I couldn't find a very simple way to turn the automatic mileage tracking off. So that's one of the pros and cons there with MileIQ. Again, you could always just uninstall the app, then reinstall the app when you're actually going to be using it for mileage tracking. That's sort of a hack way to make sure that you don't burn through those 40 free drives really fast through personal driving. So that's one caveat there. Or if you don't mind paying, again, they do have a paid version, which gives you unlimited drives, and you can either bill it monthly or billed yearly. And that's still a lot cheaper than what an accounting software would be. If you're really doing a lot of driving, it might make sense for you to go with the unlimited option, again, even just as a single person. If you're not doing that much, that's the nice thing about MileIQ is they do have that completely free version. Again, it is maybe a little bit of a hassle to get around to the automatic tracking if you don't necessarily need to track all your personal drives. Again, if you're just going to the grocery store, it's like, hey, I don't need to track that. So that's something worth keeping in mind. They do also have the teams, which is build out more of like a per user basis. So again, if you do need that, they do also have the Teams version, build monthly, build annually. So MileIQ, definitely a good option. Moving along, next in this list, we have Driver's Note. Now, personally, this is hands down my favorite mileage tracking app, just purely for mileage tracking. Again, if you don't need the accounting software side of things, you just want the mileage tracking. And they have a way to actually turn on and off the automatic mileage tracking in the app without having to uninstall it. So yes, thank you, Driver's Note, for doing that. You can actually turn it on and off the automatic tracking in the app without having to uninstall it, which is super nice in comparison to MileIQ, where it's sort of like, hey, we're always on because we want you to burn through those 40 free drives really fast. Driver's Note, you can turn that on and off, and they do have, again, this is obviously a completely free app to use on the free version to automatically track your miles. So you do have detailed GPS tracking. You can get a full report of the drives, up to 15 trips per month on the full reports. You can do unlimited regular tracking, but if you do want the more detailed PDF report of the specific trips, then again, that's up to 15 per month on the more detailed reports on like a PDF or Excel report. But you can do unlimited trips just with not needing a full report. If you don't need a full report, you can still do unlimited trips in the light and in the free version. But if you do want the actual detailed reports, then you do have to go to their basic paid version to get the unlimited documentation trips. So again, it just depends on what your needs are, but you can do unlimited free tracking of the GPS tracking. Just you don't necessarily get all the detailed reports. So if you don't necessarily need the detailed reports with all of the specific, mileage reports, this is their tax compliant mileage reports. If you don't need that, for all your drives, then you could still do unlimited tracking of your drives, which is super nice. So you can track trips automatically. You can turn that auto track on and off within the app. You can add them manually. Again, you can split them out, whether it be a personal trip, a business trip, even charity and medical they also have here, as well as the ability to add notes. You can have them reviewed, configure other detailed settings, which is nice as well. Again, it's just mileage tracking made easy, as you can see here, and it is just purely mileage tracking. And again, the free version is quite extensive in terms of what you can do. Your really only limitation on the free version is the ability to do the detailed reports. So if you want or need the detailed reports, you do get, again, up to 15 free. but you can still do unlimited tracking. So if you don't necessarily need the detailed mileage reports, then you could still do unlimited tracking on the free version, which is super nice. So definitely recommend Driver's Note, another good option. Moving along, next in this list, we have TripLog. Now, TripLog is, again, another completely separate, dedicated mileage tracking app for mileage tracking. Now, they do have a lot of other integrations if you do want to integrate with a platform like, Salesforce, QuickBooks, SAP, ADP, Paychex, other payroll software systems. Again, if you want a very dedicated app for just mileage tracking, TripLog is really good for that. Now, in terms of pricing, they do have a free version that you can do manual GPS mileage tracking and basic expense management. This is good for moving away from paper mileage logs, but they can be a little bit more expensive on, going beyond just the 40 trips and expenses limit. That's all that you get on the Lite, which is the free version. So it's something worth considering. They do have more advanced features on the premium and the teams and enterprise level. If you do need that, if you need more, again, this is built more for team tracking, more for companies, I would say, in general with TripLog. Again, you can do it for individuals, but it is really more built for advanced companies, I would say. Again, you can still do it personal to split out between business and personal, but other apps might be better suited if you just need the basic features. If you just want a free basic mileage tracker, some of those other options we already mentioned, like even MileIQ or Driver's Note, might be better. But if you do need more detailed expense reports and all of those, trips coming in from different employees or things like that, TripLog might be better because they do have a lot of other integrations with other partners for, when it comes to payroll, deductions, expense reports, all those types of things. TripLog has more of the company side of things. Moving along next in this list, last but not least, we have Everlance. Now, Everlance is probably the other app that is closest to Driver's Note. No relation there. They happen to have the same brand colors in terms of this sort of mint green. But Everlance is another app that you can automatically track mileage and expenses. Now, this is, again, completely dedicated to tracking your miles, and they do have a free version as well. So you can go for drives and track things as work and personal. It's very easy to understand because it's a very simple app. Now, they do have it built out for individuals as well as for companies. And on the free version, they do have a manual mileage tracker. Now, the one thing about that is because it is manual, they don't have the automatic mileage tracking unless you go on the paid version. So that's sort of one of the downsides with Everlance in terms of getting things automatically done. So you don't have to remember to go, oh, I needed to click track. Oh, I needed to click this button. So it is still pretty cheap compared to some of the other options in this list for the automatic tracking. Again, it might be worth just going through and testing out some of these apps to see for yourself if you like them, if you dislike them. Again, there are links down below to all the companies mentioned here in today's video. But Everlance can be another good option, again, for tracking your miles. It's very easy and simple to understand. As you can see here, trip in progress. You can track things. The other nice thing about Everlance is they do also have expense tracking. So maybe for gas or other expenses, you can also log in here. Again, whether it be for self-employed, if you are self-employed, or for a business and, going more the business management route, they have those options there as well. And they have the app. So really all these companies pretty much have an app that you can easily, go on your smartphone, track things, and link it up on your computer as well if you do want to dig into the other reports. So the nice thing about Everlance, they do have the expense management in addition to the mileage tracking. So it's not just a mileage tracker. So if you do need things above and beyond just purely mileage tracking, if you do also want expense management, that's sort of where Everlance can come into play and maybe give you an edge over something just like Driver's Note, which is more focused about mileage tracking, or even really MileIQ. That's, again, purely focused on mileage tracking. So again, depends on what you need. If you do want things sort of more expense reports built in like an Everlance as well. So guys, that pretty much wraps up this video here today of 7 of the best mileage tracking apps, both free and paid. Again, if you do want to check out any of the companies mentioned here in today's video, there will be links linked down below in the video description, of course, some of which are affiliate links, which is a great way to help out and support the channel. If you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful, then be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and notification bell so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Anyway guys, that's all for today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.